Like I've previously mentioned, it's the age of IRL streamers, in real life streaming, okay? And the biggest in real life streamer right now is obviously iShowSpeed. He just finished his Great China tour, and the biggest highlight and gem of the tour is actually the friend that he made over there. A friend that he affectionately called Ang for uncle. His friendship, or should I say bromance, with Ang actually captivated the hearts of all the audience, so much so that the audience have been rooting for Ang in the last few days of iShowSpeed's stream in China, okay? Ang first appeared on March 31st in Chengdu with a whole goose wrapped in a plastic bag. When he first appeared, Speed's bodyguard Henry let Ang in, and Ang was actually sidelined by the local security guard, and Henry actually let Ang come back in to interact with Speed. Also shout out to Henry. Rudiger Henry, Speed's bodyguard, has really grown on all of us because he's like a gentle giant, so W's for Henry, W's for wins. I have to explain a bit of acronyms here and there because our audience also leans more to the older group like I am, so I'm still always learning new, more culture appropriate words and savviness. So Speed graciously took a bite out of the whole goose that Ang brought for him, and this was only in their first interaction, and that was it. And unknown to Speed, he will go on to meet Ang for the second, and not third, and not fourth, but a total of 5 times, all over China, okay? The second time Ang appeared was in Chongqing, when he actually appeared with a whole suckling pig this time, okay? But Speed doesn't eat pork, so he declined it. Politely, of course, very politely, okay? And even at this time, this was the second time that Ang appeared, people in chat were starting to ask, why is Ang stream sniping Speed so hard, and Speed was even asking, why is this guy following me all day, This was just the initial friction, I would say, of a future blossoming friendship that nobody knew in the first place. Because to the audience, most of us, we do not know Ang at all yet. And also, Ang wasn't aware that Speed doesn't eat pork. And after that incident, Ang actually went back to make an apology video to Speed, explaining that he doesn't know that Speed doesn't eat pork. And all Ang wants to do is he just wants to introduce Speed to his hometown's delicacies, which consists of goose and roasted suckling pig and as such, and other stuff. Now, for the third time in Hong Kong, Ang appears again, and this time he appeared with, I'm not sure if this is a chicken or a goose, but it is poultry, okay, and it's large in size, okay. And Speed was once again impressed with Ang because it's like this is now the third different city that Ang has stream sniped him, okay. And now the fourth time was in Shenzhen, when this time Speed is totally impressed with Ang, and he really interacts a whole bunch with Ang. This time, Ang appeared in Shenzhen with a prime drink and local and his hometown delicacy snacks for Speed and his whole team. So Ang actually presented a side of Chinese hospitality to Speed slowly, okay? From this Shenzhen trip onward, it's like even the bodyguards are warming up to Ang's, friendly nature. So much so that Speed and his bodyguard Henry asked Ang, would you want to ride with us? Which Ang happily accepted, okay? This was just the beginning of a great friendship, and also, I would say, to most of us audience, helps Speed to tap into a demographics of audience that he has barely tapped, which is someone like me, where we are, because we are all like, we're kind of old, so, because of Speed's friendship with Ang, and in China, everyone wants to know where Speed is going, because Speed is helping. Because Speed is like showing the rest of the world the side of China that most people haven't seen, So Speed is spreading friendship, like I've mentioned, across borders and boundaries, especially in his Great China tour. So many memorable moments were formed just between the pair of Speed and Ang. Just think of it like Rush Hour 4, okay? Ang even gave an impromptu rap to Speed's amazement in the car in Shenzhen. Then after that, They even had ice cream at the 7-Eleven, and Ang actually paid for everyone's snacks, which, just another side of Chinese hospitality. And people now, at this point, at the fourth time that Ang appeared, people are really warming up to him now. The chat was going mad with Ang, and it was actually chat that prompted Speed to invite Ang to ride along with him. Because this man, you could tell from his body language, he's just very genuine, very honest. He just wants people to know about his hometown delicacies. That's all. That's all he wanna do. And he's very polite. He doesn't force himself upon Speed. It's like, if you choose to interact with me more, Speed, I'll gladly take it. That's all. That's all. And Speed's last stop was in Changsha, China. And to no surprise, Ang appeared this time with a whole goose once again. Okay, this is the second time he appeared with a goose. So they had a lot of fun. They toured a lot of, stations in Changsha. And the highlight of that last stream was when at the restaurant, in the restaurant, right, Ang was seated beside Speed, okay? And a man in green actually walked over and talked to Ang, saying that I'm the boss, and then told the Ang that we're both in the restaurant business. Could you please give up your seat for me so that I can, talk to Speed and introduce to Speed, the delicacies of my restaurant, But as Ang stood up and walked off, right, before the green man seated down at his seat, he actually turned back and told Ang this: if not, I will go to your hometown and find you. Which is, the netizens are actually very unhappy with this man in green because of the sort of unkind language that he has used, the way he worded his words, not really kindly towards Ang, okay? And then there's even a video of Ang explaining how this man in green, was trying to telling him, get out of the seat so that I can introduce the food to Speed. But then after Ang got up, like I said, why did he still choose to turn around and still add another sentence? If you don't do it, I'll go over it. I'll find you in your hometown. That's not really a nice thing to say, right? I mean, and with the tone and everything. And they are not friends, they do not know each other, so you can't say that it's a joking manner either, right? And after that, Speed has a collab with Ta Zhang Wei, okay, the singer of Sunshine, Rainbow and Unicorns. That very famous song where people start singing ne nika ne nika 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 ne, which means that THAT, that in Chinese, okay, which Speed has reacted several times in the past and in the whole tour, why does it sound like but it's not, okay, it's just a Chinese word for the word that, okay, and it's something that people often use, in sentences, especially when trying to form the sentence, you'll say that, or this, so that's it. So he had a collab at Mango TV station, he had a collab with Mango TV and Ta Zhang Wei, and during these performances, the sad thing was, as you can see, from this video, Ang was actually left out, he was left out waiting outside the performance venue. And he was just left there the whole time during the performance. And the thing is, he thought Speed will exit that building. No, but Speed actually exited from another exit and Ang was left all alone. And in the car, with Ta Zhang Wei beside him, Speed suddenly asked, yo, where is Ang? Is Ang with us? And people just tried to brush him aside and say, no, Ang's tired, Ang go and sleep. No, actually no. Thankfully, before the stream ended, Ang actually came back and joined Speed, thankfully. And obviously, that was the last night of stream Speed in China, Changsha also, but that was just, and Ang's personality has captivated everyone. He is a true gem, probably to most of us, probably the gem and highlight of Speed's Great China Tour, because he showcased a side of Chinese hospitality, He's very humble, he doesn't impose himself over others. He watches out for the whole group, including Speed's team, his bodyguards. He offers drinks, food and snacks for everyone. He understands what is Speed's diet. Speed doesn't like spicy. He will find the food that is non-spicy and offer to Speed. Just basic courteous Chinese hospitality. And people are asking Ang, so how much money are you getting? Okay, how much did they pay you to do this? Are you sure you're not a plant? No, Ang said, no, I'm not a plant. I'm doing this out of pocket on my own, and I'm not even rich or anything. I'm not wealthy. I even have car debts to pay, over tens of thousands of dollars to pay. So anyway, the friendship of Speed and Ang was the best thing for me for Speed's Great China Tour. So much so that it made me focus more on where Speed is going, and it made all of us focus more on the China culture because of their interactions. And finally, now Speed has left China. He's now touring Mongolia, And he has mentioned that Speed wants to fly Ang to America. So Ang is going to America to stream. And also, Ang is now a hometown hero for his persistence. He has been rewarded by his hometown authorities a sum of 100,000 Chinese yuan, which is about 13,000 USD. That's a sizable sum, a real sizable sum. And Ang is now getting a lot of sponsorship deals and such forth, which is, which is truly well deserved. So, have you managed to caught up with the Ang hype?